Top of the morning, fight fans. This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Anthony Big Femi Joshua. Get this. Hearn revealed Fury's team reached out to request Joshua step aside for Usyk fight to happen. Get this. If AJ stepped aside, Fury versus Usyk would be the first undisputed fight since 1999. Promoter Eddie Hearn publicly named Anthony Joshua's price to walk away from this world heavyweight event and saying it would take at least 40 million pounds, which is $53 million, for Joshua to give up the bout. Wow. There has been talk of Tyson Fury stepping in to fight Usyk in an effort to unify the heavyweight division after Usyk took Joshua's titles when they met in September. AJ instantly enacted his rematch clause and is due to meet the Ukrainian again in the spring, but Fury's camp would prefer him to step aside and let their champion take on the fellow title holder. Hearn, Joshua's promoter, reveals Fury's team had reached out to request Joshua step aside. Amount of the cost to persuade Joshua to walk away, Hearn said 7 figures. $1 million? If you want to get him not to fight Alexander Usyk, you have to pay him 40. At the moment, there is communication between the two teams to say it is something, and the answer is AJ has not spoken to anyone about this yet. I'll deal with it, and when I feel there's an opportunity for Joshua and the 258 management, we'll sit down with them and present it to them, but I won't do that until it's the right opportunity. If there's a route and an offer and it makes sense, then we'll see. But right now, it's just conversation between the camps. At the moment, Anthony Joshua is fighting Alexander Usyk, and that's the situation. Those are the words of Eddie Hearn. Let me counterpunch. 40 million pounds. As I can remember, you guys remember when Deontay Wilder wanted 30 million, or was it 20 million or 10 million? And it was these numbers that were thrown out there to step aside. And I was like, okay, well, that's a lot of money. But then that's a big fight that he's stepping aside for. Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua was the biggest fight that you could ever make. I think it was probably bigger than it would be now, ever. And him to step aside, I believe this is a tactic to, what's the word? How do you explain this? This is what you call a overbidding, And I think it's the way of Anthony Joshua saying, hey, you want me to step aside? 40 million. Give me $40 million. 40 million pounds. Give me 40 million pounds and I'll step aside. Now, there is no way that Tyson Fury, Frank Warren, cheap-ass Bob Arum will ever accept that amount of money. It depends on how bad they want it, but they don't. But you have to understand, you have a guy that made $85 million for a rematch when he was the challenger, when he lost his belts against Andy Ruiz. Okay? You have to remember that. So you don't expect it to be cheap. All right? So that looks like a AJ number. That's a standard AJ number. A guy that's the cash cow, the second highest paid boxer in the sport behind Canelo, if not the first. Okay? But I think Canelo just trumped him over the $40 million or the $50 million that he was granted by knocking out Caleb Plant, right? So what would you expect from the second highest then? Chump change? 40 million pounds is like $53 million. That's damn near two Floyd Mayweather checks before he fought Pacquiao. I mean, it's crazy. But I think that's a way of pricing yourself out to let people know that they're not. And it's a good thing. It's a good thing because if they offered him that much money, he would take it. I mean, who wouldn't? You know? And if he didn't, we will really, truly know that it is not about money with Anthony Joshua, and he has clearly too much money and he just wants his revenge. And that's it. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think of Anthony Joshua telling Eddie Hearn that it would be $53 million, 40 million pounds to step aside to see Alexander Usyk take on Tyson Fury. You guys tell me what you think. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.